everybody, and welcome to Vinyl Treasures. I'm your host, Johnny G, John Galindo, coming to you live each and every Saturday only here on YouTube. I'll be joining Oldies and More Radio beginning at midnight tonight, but we're going to see if we can shorten the show a little bit more. we will, because I don't have 75 records to play tonight. It's more like 53 records. That's a big difference with 25 records. I want to welcome you to the May 13th, 2023 Vinyl Treasure Show on this kind of like a humid, it wasn't so hot, but it was kind of humid hot, you know what I say? But welcome to the program here. I spin my 1950s and early 60s 45's out of my collection, and I got a lot of requests tonight. Actually, this is a special night because we're going to dedicate this show to the late George Tompkins. He passed away on May 8th, a very upsetting thing for me. I was really shocked to find out about it, but I went to the wake and I went to the funeral yesterday. Very sad for George, but we are going to dedicate the show to him and the memories that we'll have of George and the people that he touched. So I know he touched me a lot, but a lot of your requests tonight, but in a lot of the requests are some of George's favorites tunes. So anyway, we just opened up. I think many of you may know this song here. Opened up with the great tenor saxophonist out of Chicago, Mr. Cozy Eggleston, and his combo there. That's from February 1954. A song he wrote called Big Heavy, and it was a theme song used by a number of disc jockeys. Buffalo disc jockey WKEW DJ George Lorenz. He used this as a theme song. I think it was Wynn's disc jockey Alan Freed also used this. This was also used, I think it was used, I don't know if, I think it was the Time Capsule show. I think George may have even used this on some of the shows that he did at FUV. But I love to hear, because every time I hear this song, I think of record collecting for some reason. It just is. But like I said, we're going to dedicate this show to George Tompkins. He passed away on May 8th, and it's a celebration of his life and what he has left us and the people that he touched in his circle of life. So we're going to dedicate this song and the first two songs that I'll be playing consecutively in memory of George. So I'm just going to play the two songs. We're going to introduce the first song here, as we're going to open up tonight with a group called the Seniors. I think George would say the Seniors, and I would tell him, that's wrong. It's the Seniors. It's not the Seniors. But anyway, this was issued on Monty Bruce's Tetra label out of Brooklyn, New York. It's their only release. And I actually found this record in the wild. Originally, it was so many times I heard it, I found it was trashed to shreds. So I have 3 copies of this 45, 2 VGs, and this is a little bit better. It still could be a little better. But anyway, so I'm going to play the other song consecutively right after. These two are especially for George Tompkins. We open it up from November 58, The Seniors on Tetra, Evening Shadows Falling.
Evening shadows falling, I think of you, and my poor heart is aching. Now I'm so blue. Oh, tell me, darling, what am I to do?
What am I to do?
You said you loved me. see, you see. But when you're not here beside me, none of the lamps are on me. Oh, I pray and I dream, and I'm hoping they all will come true. But perhaps it was meant just to be this way. Who knows? Who knows? Do you?
There you go, the sound of the Swallows there, July 1958. Who knows, do you? That's on the Federal record label. That's going out. We'll send that one out in memory of George Tompkins. That the second record. Actually, this is the second Swallows group. The original group out of Baltimore, Maryland. They disbanded in late 1952, but group member Junior Denby continued to record with a studio group as the Swallows for a bit. But in late 1957, ex-Swallow lead singer Eddie Rich would team up with ex-Honey Boys lead singer Calvin Khaki Colette to resurrect the Swallows, and they would put out 4 singles on Sid Nathan's Federal record label. This was their second, written by Federal A&R man Andy Gibson and the lead singer Calvin Khaki Colette. And we're going to send that one out in memory to George Tompkins there, the Swallows with Who Knows Do You. And prior to that, we heard the Seniors from November 1956 on the Tetra label. That's Monty Bruce's Tetra Records with Evening Shadows Falling, parentheses, I Think of You. As we count down the music chronologically here on the 50s and early 60s show tonight, lots of your requests. And we stay on Sid Nathan's Federal label with a request for UK listener. Lots of UK listeners coming in to the Vinyltreasure show. This is Amy Thomas. We go back to June of 1952 with this West Coast group called the Four Jacks. This is their second of 2 on the Federal label. It features Ellison White on lead. We send this one out to Amy Thomas, June 52, the Four Jacks on Federal. It's called The Last of the Good Rockin' Men.
I'm a good rockin' man, that's me. Real good rockin', can't you see? I've got something strong and tan. I'm the last of the good rockin' man. If you're tired of the thing you've got, try my lovin', it's red hot. I've got something strong and tan. I'm the last of the good rockin' man. There's one long foot for rockin' in the morning.
Baby, please don't cry.
There's one more foot for rockin' in the evening.
Then you'll shout,
My, I'm a good rockin' man, that's me. A real good rockin', can't you see? I've got something strong and tan. I'm the last of the good rockin' man. Rockin', good rockin' man. I've got something strong and tan. I'm the last of the good rockin' man. Rockin',
good rockin' man.
Rockin',
good rockin' man.
I've got something strong and tan. I'm the last of the good rockin' man. There's one long foot for rockin' in the morning, but baby, please don't cry. There's one more foot rocking in the evening, and then you'll shout, my, I'm a good rockin' man, that's me, real good rockin', can't you see? I've got something strong and tan, I'm the last of the good rockin' man. Rockin', good rockin' man, rockin', good rockin' man. I've got something strong and tan, I'm the last of the good rockin' man.
Yeah, that one there going out to, whoops, that one there going out to Amy. I lost my place here. That's going out to Amy Thomas in the UK, June 1952. The Four Jacks there, the bass lead of Ellison White there, and that's called The Last of the Good Rockin' Men. That one there, Sid Nathan's Federal Records, and they also do background vocals for other federal artists like Lil Greenwood, Little Willie Littlefield, Shirley Haven, and Cora Williams. I have those 45s, and I will feature them here, and either on the venues that I do during the week at 1 o'clock once we get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're new to the program, please subscribe to Johnny G's Vinyltreasure Show. Click a thumbs up if you dig the music I play, and click the bell to get notifications when Johnny G goes live. You'll get an email you'll get an email delivered, and you just click it and you can sign on. We continue here, and been featuring this group from Harlem, New York over the last couple of weeks. Actually, listener Daniel Kubacki has been requesting them. I wonder who turns you on to that, Daniel. But last week I played the debut single for this group on Bobby Robinson's Red Robin record label. It was called Where Are You? Now here is their second of two on Robert Weinstock's Prestige record label. It features Ray Buddy Wooten on lead. This is with Tico Wilshire and his orchestra. This is by request for Daniel, October 53, the Mellow Moods on Prestige. It's called I'm Lost.
I'm lost. I'm like a king without his throne. I'm lost, just like a dog without his bone. I'm going round in circles, doing things I shouldn't do. That's how much I'm lost without you. I'm lost, I'm like a heart without its beat. I'm lost, just like an army in defeat. I'm like the autumn trees that shed their leaves when summer's due. That's how much I'm lost without you. Everything about me seems so strange, dear. My friends tell me I don't appear the same. I go around acting silly-dilly. I can't even remember my name. I'm lost because the phone at home won't ring. I'm lost, our pet canary bird won't sing. I'm lost because each souvenir you left has faded blue. That's how much I'm lost without you. Everything about me seems so carefree. My friends tell me I don't care the same. I go around acting silly-dilly. I can't even remember my name. I'm lost because the phone at home won't ring. I'm lost, our pet canary bird won't sing. I'm lost because each souvenir you left has faded blue. That's how much I'm lost without without you.
That's the great sound of the Mellow Moods by request for Daniel Kubacki in our YouTube chat room with that one there from October 1953 with Ray Buddy Wooten on lead, I'm Lost. That's on the Prestige record label. And I don't know, maybe Mike Sape, bought this from someone by the name of Ron Baldino. I think he's from Connecticut. And he used to work at the Columbia pressing plant for a number of years. So he comes into that Waterbury, Connecticut show with a whole bunch of Columbia presses. I mean, some really good stuff, and they were in nice shape. And he had some more expensive things. And I was like, what do you have on some rarities? But he had a lot of records. I think I must have spent about a couple $1,000 that day at his table. But again, this is a long time ago, and I used to, because I would talk to Greg about Ron Baldino, because he would go visit him up in Connecticut. I think he was from Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken, but he sold me that 45. Anyway, let's continue here on Vinyl Treasure. Let's go back to 52 now. We backtrack a little bit here as I try to mix the tempos up. This is a request for UK listeners Abigail Rocket Blast as we head back to Sid Nathan's Federal label. Now, this group had 21 releases on the Federal label between December of 1950 and September of 57. Now, the song that Abigail requested came out twice. It was like, wait a minute, do I have this record twice? I do. It first came out in February of 52 on Federal 12059. It was backed with When the Swallows Come Back to Capistrano. And then again in May of 52 was backed with a song called Love, Love, Love. So I'm spinning, of course, the first press, the first way. It's their fifth release on the Federal label, written by Billy Ward and Rose Marks. It features the great Clyde McPhatter on lead. This was a big R&B hit. It was a number 7 R&B hit on the Billboard R&B chart. This is going out to Abigail in the UK. February 52, the Dominoes on Federal. It's called That's What You're Doing to Me for Abigail.
I wanna laugh, I wanna cry, I wanna live, no, I want to die. Can't you see? Oh, that's what you're doing to me. I wanna leave, I wanna stay, I wanna fight, no, I want to play. Oh, baby, gee, oh, that's what you're doing to me. Lord, won't you tell me why I love that woman so? She doesn't want me, but I never let her go on around. I wanna roll, I wanna thrill deep down in my soul. Oh, baby, oh, that's what you're doing to me.
Oh, baby, why must it be? Yes, you're always upsetting me. And I really got it bad. Yes, and it's almost driving me mad. I love that woman so. Though she doesn't want me, I'll never let her go.
I wanna roll, wanna thrill deep down in my soul. Oh, baby, oh, that's what you're doing to me. Oh, yeah, that's what you're doing to me.
Oh, there you go. There you go there. Those are the Dominoes there. The Dominoes, from February 1952 on the Federal record label. The great Clyde McPhatter on lead. That's going out to Abigail Rocket Blast. That's what you're doing to me. Now, after their second release in May of 52 that I showed you there before, the group would be known as Billy Ward and his Dominoes after that. So that other one that I showed you was the last release as the Dominoes. That was probably that was number it wasn't the very next release. I think it was maybe the 7th release possibly. But anyway, I saw that comment, Mike. It's sad to hear that Ron Baldino passed away a long time ago. Wow. Too bad. Well, too much death here, really, but we're going to continue here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Let's go to Philadelphia now with this request for listener M. Nunn. This group had 6 releases on Herb Slotkin's Grand record label. This is their debut single, written by the group's guitarist. His name was Frank Vance. It features 16-year-old George Grant on lead by request for Emnon, October 1953. These are the Castells on the Grand label. It's called My Girl Awaits Me.
My girl awaits me, the sun is in the sky. She said she loves me, and there's no need to cry. All I do each day is dream of my darling and sigh. Darling and sigh. The clouds seem to smile as they roll by overhead. The birds are singing, I have nothing to dread. But all I can do is wait with my memories of you. The leaves on the trees seem to beckon to me and tell me she's headed my way. Headed my way. I thank the Lord above for sending me my love.
And this is my most happy day.
Well, the clouds seem to smile as they roll by overhead. The birds are singing, I have nothing to dread. But all I can do is wait with my memories of you. Memories of you. The leaves on the trees seem to beckon to me and tell me she's heading my way. Heading my way. I thank the Lord above for sending me my love.
And this is my most happy day.
Well, the flowers are blooming, the birds are in the trees, the sun is still shining, and it casts a beam on me. I'm happy just because my girl awaits me.
That's by request for listener Emnon there, the sound of the Castells, October 1953. That's on the Grand record label, My Girl Awaits Me. George Grant on lead, and the first presses of this are on the Shiny Blue Grand label. I don't have a true first press, but I do have, I guess you can call it the flat blue press. That's, I guess, the second press. The yellow copy is the third press without the address. But I know of somebody that has, if anybody's interested, I know somebody that has all of the Castell releases, but they're all the 1961 presses. Stone Minis told me unplayed that he's looking to sell. I don't know anything about the price or anything like that, but he told me, he said, if you, because he asked me if I need, I said, no, I have them I have them all on 45. I have some nice copies. The only one I need on 45 is their last release, which is their hardest. I have it on a 78. It's really cool. It's the Grand Label is a Black Label 78. I have that. I'll play that record on the 78 show. But if anybody is interested, you can email me at vinyltreasures@aol.com. We continue here. We move into 1954. We go to the South Bronx with this request for listener Ronnie Sherman. I recently played the flip side of this 45 for UK listener Abigail Rocket Blast. It was the April 29th show. It was called Hold Me Baby. The group would have 4 releases on the Atlantic subsidiary Cat label. First as the Chords. Actually, their first 2 were as the Chords. Then they were sued by an already established Chords group, so they had to change their name, and they became the Chord Cats. But let's flip over that third release, Hold Me Baby. Send it out to Ronnie Sherman. It features Carl Feaster on lead. November 54, the Chord Cats on the Cat label. It's called A Girl to Love. This is for Ronnie Sherman.
I prayed to the Lord in heaven if he would be so kind to show me in a dream a girl to love. It would all be so thrilling to hear the church bells ringing. Here I wait with open arms for a girl to love, like the sunrise in the morning, burning desires above, but the burning in my heart is caused by foolish love. It would all be so thrilling to hear the church bells ringing. Here I wait with open arms for a girl to love, like the sunrise in the morning, burning desires above, but the burning in my heart is caused by foolish love. It would all be so thrilling to hear the church bells ringing. Here I wait with open arms for a girl to love.
That's going out to Ronnie Sherman. I know Ronnie's watching the program now. Thanks, Ronnie, for that request there. Great sound of the, Chord Cats, a.k.a. the Chords, a.k.a. the Shabooms, too, by the way. November 1954. Carl Feaster on lead, the Chord Cats on Cat, A Girl to Love. Now, with their fourth release on Cat, they would again change their name, I mentioned, to the Shabooms, only because they hated the name, the Chord Cats. Anyway, but listen, when you get sued to avoid legal money liability, you better change your name. Yes, you should. As we continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show, hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. We move into 1955 with a request for Gordy Freeman, this group originally from Tacoma, Washington, first singing as members of the choir at Bethlehem Baptist Church in Tacoma while they were attending Lincoln High School. Then they relocated to L.A. They signed a deal with Lou Chudd's Imperial label, and this was their debut single. And this is requested by Gordy Freeman. It was co-written by the lead singer. His name is Billy Gold. This did chart, though. This was a number 5 record on KFVD in Los Angeles, California. Is that right, Charlene? KFVD? I don't know if that's right. February 1955. Let's give a listen to the Barons on the Imperial label. This is going out to Gordy Freeman in our YouTube chat room. The song is called Eternally Yours.
Eternally yours, my darling, I'll write to you while you're away from me. I'll always be true. I love you so much. My heart is longing for you. Please hurry home to me. I love only you. Love only you. My friends all ask, when will you come back to me? I hope real soon, for I'm in misery. I miss you so much as the seas miss the shores. I'll close this letter now. Eternally yours, eternally yours.
That's the great sound of the Barons there, February 1955 on Imperial Records. Billy Gold on lead. Co-wrote the tune. Eternally Yours is the name of the tune. We continue here. Now, since tomorrow is Mother's Day, I pulled a couple of songs out to celebrate that day, and this is my first. We're going to send this one out to all the moms out there tuned into the program, especially my mother who was tuned in tonight, as we head to Brooklyn, New York for this group. It's on Sam Koval's Samson label. They were called the Soft Tones. This is from 1955. This is on the Samson label, the Soft Tones from 55, with their rendition of the tune My Mother's Eyes for Maggie.
One bright and guiding light.
Boom, boom, boom.
one lonely soul. I walk the straight and narrow to reach my goal.
$19.55 release there for the Softtones. Softtones on the Samson label, and their rendition of the tune My Mother's Eyes, going out to all the mothers out there, especially my mom. She wrote that note there because it was very nice for Jeff K. Thank you for that note you sent my mother. It was very nice of you to do that. And all the comments in the chat room, she's watching, so she sees that. So she wishes she could type in her responses to you, but she can't type. She has neuropathy in her fingers, and she can't feel the keys on the tablet. So maybe I can get her a maybe I can connect even on a type the keyboard. She can't feel because you don't know how hard you're pressing on the keys. So when you press hard and you don't feel it and you press too hard, it goes, you're going to get multiple letters. So she can't do it, but she can write. In the beginning it was hard, but now she can. So she thanks you all for that, really. And she really enjoys reading the chat. She does. But those are the Softtones from 55, My Mother's Eyes. And I had a choice between that one and the Four Buddies on Savoy, because I do have the Four Buddies on Savoy from March 53. But though you collectors out there, be careful on this 45, because they used original stampers on a second press, and you can easily tell because the originals are a much deeper orange. That copy is a much deeper orange. I have the other copy, and you can really tell because the originals have that square edge, or, at the end of the record there, versus kind of like a dipping in and a real pointed edge, that can cut into your finger. And the originals have that paler orange. That's how you can and plus they're lighter. This is like a brittle vinyl that you can't bend. You can't really break it, but you can the other one. But they look real. They do. I think the one on 45 Cat, I think Fred Clemens, you posted it. That is not the original. You can look at the print too. It's slightly different. Anyway, Johnny G babbling on here. Let's continue here. And we are in 1955. We stay in 55. We head to Chicago to Leonard Allen's United record label. I want to dedicate this next tune to the late George Tompkins. It's unfortunate that this was the group's only release, and it received extensive airplay on I typed that wrong. Is it WHJC or WHJF? I messed that up. It originally had a longer title. The true first presses of this, which I don't have, unfortunately, is called If You Put Your Arms Around Me. But when the record started taking off, they shortened it. They dropped the If You, and it just became Put Your Arms Around Me. But I really like this record, and it was George Tompkins that turned me on to this one. From Fred Buckley, he's the lead singer. December 55, the Castells on United. It's called Put Your Arms Around Me.
I'm lost, for I cannot see. Won't you tell me that you love me, be an angel just for me? can't you see? And in this heart, my dear, is a feeling and a reason for shedding tears. I'm lost for playing the game. If you put your arms around me, then we'll walk through Lover's Lane. Lost, and I'm going insane. If you put your arms around me, then we'll walk through Lover's Lane. Walk through Lover's Lane.
That's the sound of Chicago here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. They're called the Castells, not to be confused with the Been So Long Castells. These Castells, they're out of Chicago, December 1955. Fred Buckley on lead on the United label. Out of Chicago, it's called Put Your Arms Around Me. As we continue here on Vinyl Treasures, George also liked this next tune, but it's an old request for Arizona listener Stephen Cargman as we head back out to California for the sound of the Sheiks. This is on Sid Nathan's Federal record label. The group included Eugene Church, Harold Lewis, Mel Williams, and the lead singer. His name is Jesse Belvin. This is going out to Steve in Arizona. Hot Arizona, I'd say, Steve, maybe. An old request for Steve from August 1955. The Sheiks on Federal. It's called Sentimental Heart.
Here is a sentimental heart, a heart that longs for you. Here is love, dear, that's oh so true. Maybe someday you'll want my sentimental heart. Here is a world of devotion and burning desire. The love light is burning, my heart's on fire. Maybe someday you'll want my sentimental heart. I'll go on loving you, yeah, day after day. Oh, hoping and praying, oh dear Lord, yeah, that I'll hear you say. There's a sentimental heart, a heart that longs for you. Here is love, dear, that's oh so true. Maybe someday you'll want my sentimental heart.
Sounds Sounds of California here on the Vinyltreasure Show. I know George Tompkins really liked that song by the Sheiks. That's with Jesse Belvin on lead, written by Johnny Otis. Probably Johnny Otis in the orchestra too, I would bet on that. But that's going out to Steve Cargman in Arizona, August 1955. The Sheiks on the Federal label. Sentimental Heart is the name of the tune. Let's move into 1956 now with a request for UK listener Adora Williams as we stay in California. Now this time on John Dolphin's Cash record label. Now the interesting thing about this 45 is that each side is done, we'll say, by a different group. But one side says the Turks, which is Gaynell Hodges' Turks group, and he actually is on the lead on that side, which is actually the intended B-side. It was called It Can't Be True. Now, Adora requested the flip side, which states that it's the original Turks, but in reality, they are the Hollywood Flames. And the song was recorded with the first session that took place on September 4th of 1954, because they did record for John Dolphin. And this group included Donald Ford, Gaynell Hodge, Clyde Tillis, and the lead singer on this side. His name is Bobby Bird, and they called them the original Turks versus Gaynell's group on the flip side, just called the Turks. So you still file it under Turks. I was like, where did I put this record? But I had it under the Turks anyway. And it's a cover of a 1934 theme song to a movie, if anybody ever saw that movie, called Wagon Wheel. So this is going out to Adora in the UK, July 56. The original Turks, a.k.a. the Hollywood Flames, on Cash, and their tune called Wagon Wheels.
Well, there's a wagon wheel, baby, there's a little bitty wagon wheel. Oh, keep on rolling away, wagon wheel. Oh, roll along, baby, we'll sing a little song, and then carry me over the hill. Oh, roll on, mule, there's a steamer at the landing, just waiting for the cotton to roll, then we'll roll on the mule, 'cause the boss is understanding. There's a pasture at the end of each road. Oh, wagon wheel, baby, there's a little bitty wagon wheel. Keep on rolling away, wagon wheel. Oh, roll along, sing a song. Oh, wagon wheel carries me home. Roll on, yes, streamers at the landing, just waiting for the cotton to roll, then we'll roll on you. Well, boss is understanding. There's a pasture at the end of each road. Oh, wagon wheel, baby, there's a little bitty wagon wheel. Keep on rolling away, wagon wheel. Oh, roll along, sing a song. Oh, wagon wheel carries me home.
There you go. That's going out to Adora over in the UK. That is the sound of the original Turks, a.k.a. the Hollywood Flames, July 1956. John Dolphin's Cash record label, Bobby Bird on lead, Wagon Wheels is the name of the tune. We stay in 1956. This is a request for listener Tom Shaughnessy, and Tommy asked why I don't feature more of the Moonglows material here on the program. Well, I've had some copyright issues with some of the Moonglows records, like In My Diary and certain ones that I really like by them. I'm like, no way. Why would you penalize me for those records? But anyway, I checked on this one here, and I'm able to play some of the songs. So, Tommy, I was wrong on that, but I will play this one for you. I thought this song would be an issue, but it is not. And appears not to be, that is, but it's the very last single that came out on the Chess label by the Moonglows. And this record was released in December of 1961, but both sides of this, as my PC is messing up here, both sides of this, they were recorded at a June 1956 session with Chess Records, and both sides appeared on their 1958 Chess LP, if you have it, called Look, It's the Moonglows. And Chess probably put these old masters out because of the revival of the music that was happening with Slim Rose and Times Square Records. Back in 1961, the music started to become alive again. People started collecting those first-time 1960 collectors. I mean, maybe it began in the 1960s, the early 1960s, that you can buy these records for $1, or even cheaper maybe, or $3, or, for an expensive 45. But so a lot of the record companies started to put out stuff that they had in the can by a lot of these groups, and Chess was one of them. So this is going out to Tom Shaughnessy. These are the Moonglows with Bobby Lester on lead from June of 1956, originally recorded but came out in December of 1961. Bobby Lester and the Moonglows on Chess. The song is called Penny Arcade.
One day I was walking and dreaming, then I heard a melody play. I followed the tune by the light of the moon and found a penny arcade. I went to a gypsy old lady, then she read my fortune to me. She told at a glance that our romance would last till eternity. I laughed at the silly old lady and said, you must be going out of your mind. Then she turned her head and walked away. I could hardly keep from crying. Take heed, all you young lovers, if you hear the melody play, don't follow the tune by the light of the moon, or you'll find the gypsy and the penny arcade. You'll find the gypsy and the penny arcade.
That's the great sound of Bobby Lester and the Moonglows by request for Tom Shaughnessy. And their tune called Penny Arcade, recorded in June of '56, released in December of 1961 on the Multicolor Chess label. I don't think I've ever seen this on the Blue label. I've seen it on the Multicolor label. And the flip side is excellent too. They do an excellent version of Blue Velvet that was also recorded at that 1956 session. We continue here in 1956. Here is my second Mother's Day song, but I really like to play this record any old time. I do. So not only for the Mother's Day, but it's a great tune any way you look at it. And we go back to Harlem, New York. They initially recorded as the Toppers on Jubilee Records, but then they signed with Sid Nathan's King label in 1955. They had 7 releases on the King label. This is their 5th. It features James Brown on lead, not the James Brown on the Federal label, a totally different James Brown. And we're sending this out to all the mothers out there, especially my mom, who was watching all of you in the chat room and enjoying every bit of it. This is from July 1956. The Hurricanes on King with their tune called Dear Mother.
A very sad mother was lying in the bed with a letter in her hand, and this is what it said. Dear mother, you are so very sweet. We think of you every hour and every day of the week. Day of the week. Dear mother, you said you didn't want her to marry. Oh, any Tom, Dick, or Harry. Well, mother, here's what I have to say. Yes, we married last night, and we knew you wouldn't stand for such. Yes, we love you so very much. Oh, dear mother, you're welcome here forever. And we hope that you'll ever be so selfish that and pray for us every day.
That's the great sound of the Hurricanes there from July 1956. On Sid Nathan's King record label, Dear Mother, James Brown on lead for that. The group also recorded as the Memos on the Memo label. I forgot to say this, Nat Papagallo from Naples, Florida, just got back from a dinner with his wife. It's her B's birthday today, so we got to wish happy birthday to Nat's wife, B. He has a record for her in 1958 by Willis Sanders and the Embers. That'll be coming up shortly there. But that's for all the mothers on Mother's Day, the great sound of the Hurricanes. Let's continue here. And on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I featured this group from Washington, D.C. on the Pilgrim label. The song was called Shirley. That was for Philadelphia listener Paul Greco, who is in our YouTube chat room. They return again, this time with a request for Big Dave Swinger. Now, Arlington, Virginia disc jockey Jay Perry of WEAM was able to get them to connect with George Goldner, hence their release on the Rama label. And they had this one single on Goldner's Rama label, and it features John Berry on lead. So keep your eyes peeled here for a wailing saxophone by Jimmy Wright and the orchestra. I bought this 45 for the flip side, but there are a number of collectors that like the jump side. I think this was the intended A-side too, by the way. Either way, this is for Big Dave Swinger, September 1956, The Rainbows on Rama. It's called Minnie.
Well, I'm looking for my Minnie, but your Minnie's nowhere in sight. Yes, I'm looking for a Minnie, but your Minnie's nowhere in sight. Whoa, 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 that doggone Minnie walked out on me last night. Yes, I told my little Minnie she'd have to stop the way she do. Yes, I told my little Minnie she'd have to stop the way she do. Whoa, 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 my blue little pigeon has flipped her wings and flew. Well, I told her to come home early last night, pull off the shoes and try to start a fight. Say now, Minnie, baby, take it slow. Somebody tell me where did my baby go? I'm looking for a Minnie, but Minnie's nowhere in sight. Whoa, 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 that doggone Minnie walked out on me last night. Yes. Well, now, Minnie, little Minnie, don't you do for me like that. Yes, now, Minnie, little Minnie, don't you do for me like that. Whoa, 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 I do believe you've met some real left cat. Yes, but you better be back. You better be back. Oh, you better be back. Yes, you better be back. Oh, you better be back. Woo, you better be back. Yes, don't you wanna come back? Don't you wanna come back? Woo, wanna come back? Yeah, don't you wanna come back? Don't you wanna come back?
As going out to Big Dave Swinger in our YouTube chat room, the sound of the Rainbows. The Rainbows, September 1956. That's on the Rama record label. Song entitled Minnie, and that featured, that's John Berry on, what did I say? Yeah, John Berry on lead for that one. And so we know, well, I know that Big Dave Swinger has a copy of that 45. It's not an easy record to find. Usually if you're going to buy the repro of that, it comes on the blue ROM. Of course, that record was never pressed on blue. But if you have the original, you would know. I didn't know when I first bought the, I never thought I was going to get all these records in my collection. You never know anything when you're a kid buying bootlegs out there for $1 or $3. But when you get into when you become an accounting controller of a construction company, you start making six figures, then you can start spending a little bit more on the 45. So that's how it went, and I ended up selling. I think I sold the majority of my boots. I just have a few of records I've never picked up yet. I do have some, like the Ravel's Quartet on Atlas. But anyway, let's continue here. And on last week's Vinyl Treasure Show, I opened up with a request for UK listener Ira. no, Indrajit, that's what it is. I said Ira, no. Indrajit Advani. He requested the Monarchs out of Philadelphia. I played their second release on Jack and Bill Angel's Neil record label. The song was called Always Be Faithful. It was Jimmy Amato asked if I could flip the 45 over. So we're going to send this one out to Jimmy Amato in our YouTube chat room, late 1956. The Monarchs out of Philadelphia on the Neil label. It's a B-side. It's called How Are You?
How are you?
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. A little popping there. Sounds so authentic, doesn't it? The Monarchs there, late 1956 on the Neil record label. It's going out to Jimmy Amato in our YouTube chat room. How Are You is the name of the tune. Johnny G asking you, how are you? Hope you're doing well for a Saturday evening. Johnny G spinning his 45's here, 50's and 1960s requests. For the Vinyl Treasure Show listeners, we're here till midnight. I'm trying to get out of here by 12:30. That was my goal. But, you know, with all the talking I do, it might be a little bit later than that, but nowhere near 5 hours. I played like I had 76 requests last week. It was way too much. But let's continue here. This is a lot of fun. You know, John G has a lot of fun playing the records. Can you tell? I don't know. But let's continue here. Now, let's stay in Philadelphia. Now, last week, I played lots of Philadelphia stuff. So those of you in Philadelphia that dig the Philadelphia sound, you're in your glory tonight as we stay in Philadelphia. Now, last week I played a request for listener Daniel Kubacki. He requested Kenny Esquire and the Starlights, and the side was called Tears Are Just for Fools. Now, that was their second release for Al Silver's Ember record label. The lead singer on that, Kenny Esquire, is really George Tinley, who previously sang lead with The Dreams that recorded for Herman Lubinsky's Savoy Records. And This is a special request for Mike Sape. He requested the group's first release on the Ember label. He wants to send it out to listener Jimmy Amato in our chat room, and also in memory of the late George Tompkins. We go to December of 1956. Give a listen to Kenny Esquire and the Starlights on the Ember label by request for Mike Sape, and sending this out to Jimmy Amato in our YouTube chat room and the memory of George Tompkins. The song is called They Call Me a Dreamer.
They call me a dreamer. I guess I'll always be. For in my heart I know I'll always love you so. A dreamer am I. They call me a dreamer. But in my magic world of dreams, I'm never sad nor blue as long as I have you. A dreamer am I. Although they laugh at me, I'm not ashamed, you see. A dreamer, my darling, am I. Well, all my dreams came true, darling, when I found you. A dreamer, my darling, they call me a dreamer. I guess I'll always be. But in my heart I know I'll always love you so. A dreamer am I. They call me a dreamer. I guess I'll always be. But in my heart I know I'll always love you so. Oh, dreamer am I.
December 1956, great sound there by Kenny Esquire, a.k.a. George Tinley and the Starlights. That's on Al Silver's Ember Records. Song entitled They Call Me a Dreamer. That's by request from Mike Sape, going out to Jimmy Amato, and in memory of George Tompkins. I know he liked that tune. He really did, because I remember when I used to talk to him, he says, "Do you have the Kenny Esquire and the Dreamers 45's on Ember?" I says, "Well, yes, I do, George." Now, if you ask me about the soft tones on CB, I don't have that record. I wish I had your copy. I wish I do. But anyway, let's continue. Here we are in 1956. Let's go back out to the West Coast, this time with a request for UK listener Abigail Rocket Blast. We go to Dootsy Williams' Doo-Tone record label for this one, and it's The Sound of the Medallions. It's actually a B-side to the group's fifth release on Doo-Tone. I think Vernon Green might have left the group by this time, because this came out in April of 1956. Now, the interesting thing about this is that either side, well, I mentioned that doesn't have Vernon Green, because all the releases by them prior to this included Vernon Green. I think the one after does also. So I don't know what happened to him, but the A side is called I Wanna Love, and that has a bass lead of Otis Scott. Now, Abigail requested the B-side, which features tenor Charles Gardner on lead. Now, Charles Gardner, he was previously the lead singer of the Dutones that recorded for Dutone. You know the song Teller of Fortune, he's on lead on that tune, and also I think in 1962 he sang lead on Down the Road, that kind of revamped Dutone's group. But anyway, let's go to April of 1956. This is for Abigail Rocket Blast, the Medallions on Dutone. It's called Dance and Swing.
Hey, 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 hey. I love to see my baby dance and swing. Oh, I love to see my baby dance and swing. Every time she dances and swings, well, the people think she's a dancing queen. And I love to see my baby dance and swing. To see my baby seven step. Yeah, I love to see my baby seven step. Every time she seven step, she take one step right and two steps left. And I love to see my baby seven step. When the lights are way down low and the band is playing loud, well, you ought to when she draws a great big crowd. Oh, baby, can I dance with you today? 'Cause I love to see you, baby, swing and sway. Swing and sway.
That's the sound of the Medallions there. That's going out to Abigail Rocket Blast, April 1956 release on Dootsy Williams' Dutone record label. Dance and Swing is the name of the tune. Charles Gardner on lead for that one. Anybody, if you have difficulty to find the live feed, what you need to do is, if you're not subscribed or you're not signed in, you can go to the live tab. There's multiple tabs on there, and whenever you go to anybody's video, you can check. There's a thing called videos. There's a tab called a live feed. There's another tab. I think they got multiple tabs there. Don't ask me how those came about. I just thought all my videos were being posted in date order. That's really how I want it. Not like they're going there and there's 2019 videos on the page. I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. Now, I don't know, maybe because I put live, or I do live broadcasts, they have a tab for that, but they're all live, so I don't know what they're talking about. But that's what you have to do. And also, if you're new to the program, please subscribe to you should get an email. If you are subscribed, you should get an email if you click the notification button with the bell, and it'll send it to your email, and you can click your email and it'll bring you to the show anytime. It will, unless they block it out like they did on, they blocked my show on Wednesday over in the UK because of a Debbie Doval song I played, Hey Lover, which I thought was ridiculous. I mean, give me a break. Anyway, let's continue here on the Vinyltreasure Show. We stay in 1956. We stay out in Los Angeles for this next group, and it's a request for Gordy Freeman, and he wants to send this song out to Maggie, and she is now a fan of her son's show and enjoying all the chat, so she reads all the chat. You keep her mesmerized in the chat room there. Now, this group first recorded as The Miracles on John Dolphin's Cash record label. That's a 45 that I still need, by the way. And then the group signed with Bob Ross's Ardell Records in 1955. Now, Gordy requested their third tune on their third release on the label, and it's actually a cover song that I'm not going to say from where. So without anybody checking on Google, you need to be honest about this. If anyone can tell me without using Google who recorded this song first, I know that Gordy knows, and I also know that my mother knows, but if anyone can, you can type it in the chat room there. Maybe Rick, you know. So that's a hint to Rick. But anyway, it's a great tune. I can call this a classic. And it features Herman Sonny Chaney on lead. This is by request for Gordy, sending it out to Maggie from October 1956. Let's give a listen to the Jaguars on the Ardell record label. It's called The Way You Look Tonight.
Someday, when I'm awfully low, when the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of and the way you look tonight. Oh, you're lovely, with your smile so warm and your cheeks so soft. There is nothing for me but to love you just the way you look tonight. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fears apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. You're lovely and never, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it? 'Cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight.
What a great record that is. That is a classic tune. That's by request for Gordy Freeman, and that is going out to Maggie there. The Jaguars from October 1956 on Ardell Records, The Way You Look Tonight. That's Herman Sonny Chaney on lead. And we did get some people that got it right in the chat room there. But you see, the youngest guy that got it right was Big Dave Swinger. Nat and Marvin, and who else said that? They knew it. They knew it all. They knew it all. That this was. By the way, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about the song. The song was covered by so many, but it was first sung by Fred Astaire back in 1936 in the movie Swing Time. If those of you that are movie buffs, maybe you do know that, which I think some of you guys and gals are in the chat room there. But this song was really made popular by Art LeBeau and the Oldies But Goodies LP, because he put it on that LP, and so many people heard that song, it came back and it was reissued. Baronet Records put it out, but I thought they messed it up because they added violins to it. I have that 45 on Baronet, but it is such a great record, so pleasing to the ear to listen to. That is going out to Gordy Freeman in our YouTube chat room, The Sound of the Jaguars. Johnny G here on a Saturday. If you're new to the program, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Once we get up to 1,000 subscribers, I will be doing daytime shows around 1 o'clock. So you got to make sure you subscribe to get the email, and it'll be different things. It may be countdowns, it may be different genres of music, could be blues, could be teen group vocal harmony, it could be anything, could be rockabilly. Got a lot of records in my collection. We'll see how that goes, but let's continue here, and we stay in California, and this is a request for UK listener Eddie Votex. This quintet out of Los Angeles, California had the distinction, they weren't the only one, if anybody can name me the other group that had this distinction, of having 2 records out on the charts at the same time under 2 different names. And they, of course, I'm talking about the Cadets and the Jacks. Now, the Cadets' biggest hit was a song called Stranded in the Jungle. That was their 7th of 12 on the Bahari Brothers Modern Record label. Now, Eddie requested the B-side of that 45. It features the bass lead of Dub Jones. This is from June 1956. This is going out to Eddie Votex. The Cadets on Modern. The song is called I Want You.
If you wanna be my only love, I want you. I want you. If you wanna be my lovey-dove, I want you. I want you. But if you don't want to treat me right, get out of my face, get out of my sight, 'cause I don't want nobody that ain't got eyes for me. If you really want me for yourself, I want you. I want you. Promise not to look at no one else. I want you. I want you. But if you want to string me on your line, be long gone, baby, put it out of your mind, 'cause I don't want nobody that ain't got eyes for me. You ain't the only pebble on the beach. You ain't the only monkey in the zoo. But all you got to do is play it straight, and baby, I can really go for you. All you got to do is understand. I want you. I want you. Let me be your only lover, man. I want you. I want you. But if you don't want to treat me right, stop your teasing and holding me tight, 'cause I don't want nobody that ain't got eyes for me. You ain't the only pebble on the beach. You ain't the only monkey in the zoo. But all you got to do is play it straight, and baby, I can really go for you. All you got to do is understand. I want you. I want you. Let me be your only lover, man. I want you. I want you. But if you don't want to treat me right, stop your teasing and holding me tight, 'cause I don't want nobody that ain't got eyes for me. No, I don't want nobody that ain't got eyes for me.
That's going out to Eddie Votex over in the UK, June 1956. Dub Jones and the Cadets on the Modern record label. That's the flip side of Stranded in the Jungle, song entitled I Want You. I want you to tune into the Vinyl Treasure Show. Hope you're digging on the cool tunes here. We continue. We are in 1956. Now, on the April 29, 2023 Vinyl Treasure Show, I played a request for listener Bob Evans in Ohio, the great group out of Harlem, New York, the Vocal Tones. They earlier backed up Miriam Great on Apollo as the Dovers, but they had 3 releases on Bess Berman's Apollo record label as the Vocal Tones. Bob requested their second release called Darling, You Know I Love You, but let's give a spin to the flip side before this goes back down in the No Humidity basement. This is from April 1956. On the Apollo label, it features Bobby Johnson on lead, the Vocal Tones with 3 Kinds of People.
There are only 3 kinds of people in the world: a thinker, a doer, and a fool in love. One is a thinker who thinks of love, I'll send him an angel from heaven up above. He'll do his best to make her life complete. And a fool in love. Now there's a doer who'll do his part to make her life happy and satisfy her heart. I know that I love you until the day I die. Boom, boom. Well, I remember what you told me the first night we met. Oh, you told me you'd never leave me. Well, believe me, I'll never forget. Oh, baby, come sit by my side. For your love, my darling, I'll never hide. I'll just be your fool. I'll be your fool. In love, there are only 3 kinds of people in the world: a thinker, a doer, and a fool in love.
That's the sound of the Vocal Tones there, April 1958. My play there was in memory of George Tompkins, the Vocal Tones, Bobby Johnson on lead. 3 Kinds of People is the name of the tune on Bess Berman's Apollo record label. Victor Perlin, I was lucky to get that so many years ago on a set sale he had. As usually I've never really turned out so, I never would get good records, because by the time I went through the list of 1,500 records, I would check every label, because I was checking labels that I was buying everything on the label. It wasn't just buying just for taste. I was buying everything, and I got that from him. Yes, I did. We continue here. Let's move into 1957 now with a request for Mandy Williams in the UK. This group, mostly known for their backup work for artists such as Ruth Brown and Joe Turner and Ivory Joe Hunter and Carmen Taylor and Laverne Baker, Veretta Dillard, Charles Calhoun, Big John Greer, Charlie White, Piano Red, Sue Allen. Did I forget anybody else? I probably did. But they also had their own releases. Now, Mandy requested their final single as the Cues, and Capitol put this out because they previously, I think they had 5 or 6 on the Capitol label, but they put their last single out on their subsidiary label, Prep Records. Now, this tune, written by Charles Calhoun, a.k.a. Jesse Stone, and Paul Winley, it features Ollie Jones on lead. This is for Mandy Williams in the UK from May 57. The Cues on Prep. It's called Crazy, Crazy Party.
It's early Friday evening, the moon is shining bright. Everybody's happy, ready to rock tonight. We've got plenty hot dogs, a big pot of lemonade, a pile of swinging records. Boy, we've got it made. Oh yes, it's a crazy, crazy party. It's a crazy, crazy party. Yes, a crazy, crazy party. It's a crazy, crazy party. Oh, what a party. And the night has just begun. A bit, bop, bam. Move that television. We need all the floor. They're jamming in the kitchen, but we'll make room for more. Boy, this joint is jumping like a kangaroo. Hey, little frisky girlie, I wanna dance with you. Oh yes, it's a crazy, crazy party. It's a crazy, crazy party. Yes, a crazy, crazy party. It's a crazy, crazy party. Oh, what a party. And everybody's having fun. White t-shirts and flare skirts, all this crowd is cool. Forget about that homework, tomorrow ain't no school. Since my mama told me I could stay till 3, let's don't lose a minute, everybody rock with me. Oh yes, it's a crazy, crazy party. It's a crazy, crazy party. Yes, a crazy, crazy party. It's a crazy, crazy party. Oh, what a party. Don't stop till we see the sun.
That's the sound of the Cues there, May 1957. That's going out to Mandy Williams in the UK. Boy, they are dancing up a storm there to that type of sound. The Cues there, found that in the wild. You can't go wrong for 10 cents on the 45. I mean, really? It's worth 10 cents. The Cues on the Prep label, Crazy, Crazy Party. Ollie Jones on lead. Let's continue. We are in 1957. Up next, a request for Arizona listener Stephen Cargman. And Stephen, has it been hot there? Thank God it's not hot here in New York, or it hasn't been so hot. It was a little humid today, but I know Arizona. I saw your weather forecast. It was all 90s. I think that was last week. But he requested this great group out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. You know them, the Del Vikings. They left Phoebe. Well, they all left. All the minors left Phoebe. Because, if you're a minor and you sign a contract, it's not binding. The 18-year-old had to stay. That was Crip Johnson. But the rest, they left for Mercury Records, and they recorded for Mercury. This was their second release on Mercury, the follow-up to Jitterbug Mary, a tune written by Carl Stevens. He was the band leader that played on this record here. It features Norman Wright on lead. This charted number 35 on WADE, if you were listening in Tampa, Florida, from August 1957. This is for Stephen Cargman, the Del Vikings on Mercury. It's called Come Along With Me.
Come along with me, I'll be your lover. Troubles on your mind now, it's what you gotta do. Open up your heart and come along with me. Come along with me. You never have a care, paradise waiting. It's more than I can bear. Let me have your love now. Come along with me. I'll make you happy, darling. I'll keep you safe from harm. How can we be unhappy in each other's arms? Come along with me and we'll find happiness. Don't you know I waited so long for your caress? If you really love me, come along with me. Your caress, if you really love me, come along with me. Come along with me. Come along with me. Come along.
Those are the Del Vikings here on the Vinyltreasure show. That's going out to Steve Cargman, August 1957. That's Norman Wright on lead, Come Along With Me, their second release on the Mercury label. We continue now. We are in 57. Have another request for listener Mandy Williams. Now, early in this group's career, they recorded as the Pilgrim Travelers. They dated back to the early 1930s, and there were a few generations of members with regard to this group. And in the 1950s, they were managed by J.W. Alexander, and I think Lou Rawls eventually, or he was a member of this group. I don't know about this on this release, but he was a member of this group. And in 1957, they would slightly change their name to just the Travelers. They recorded 4 on the Andex label. Now, for you collectors that run labels, if you're going to run Keen Records, you need to include Andex. Yeah, I think it's just Andex. Andex and Keen Records. I'm getting confused with RV because that's the Orbit label with RV. So some of these record companies, they use the same numbering series for other labels, and maybe they were small production things that they did or whatnot, but Andex and Keen, they have the same numbering sequence. And Mandy requested their second release on the Andex label. This is with Bumps Blackwell and his orchestra, December 1957. Let's give a listen to the Travelers on Andex for Mandy. It's called Teenage Machine Age.
Teenage machine age, teenage machine age. I put a dime in here, I push a button here. The needle starts making tracks for some red hot rock and wax. Out comes roll up, rock and roll up, roll up. Baby and me, we're having a spree. Oh yeah, teenage machine. I put a dime in here, I push a button here. I'm digging that crazy sound as the bottles come rolling down. Out comes roller, ice cold cola, cola. My baby and me, we're having a spree. Well yeah, teenage machine. Some people go out dancing, they spend a lot of cash for fancy drinks and big name bands and a place with a lot of class. Yeah, I put a dime in here, I push a button here, smiling and licking our lips out of the side. A photo flips her out comes photo, man dig that photo. My baby and me, we're having a spree. Ooh yeah, teenage machine, hey, hey, teenage machine, hey. dancing. They spend a lot of cash for fancy drinks and big name bands.
And a place with a lot of class.
Whoa, I put a dime in here, I push a button here. Smiling and licking our lips out of the side. A photo flips her, out comes photo. Photo, man, dig that photo. Photo, my baby and me, we're having a spree. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hey Jim, let me have a quarter, man.
Man, I just spent 30 cents.
Oh well, it's time to go home anyway. Oh, hey, give me a push, fella.
Gassy, man, gassy.
That's going out to Mandy Williams in the UK. They're the Travelers, December 1957. That's their second release on the Andex record label, Teenage Machine Age. What a record that is, anyway. Let's continue here. On Vinyl Treasures. We go into 1958. Now, this is a request for Paul Greco. Paul in Philly. We have a Rick in Philly, although he's not in Philly, I don't think, but we do have Paul in Philly. And this group is out of Springfield, Massachusetts, though. And this was their debut single on Marty Kugel's Click label. Click Records, I think it was out of maybe New Haven, Connecticut. I know it's a Connecticut record. Now, Marty entered into a partnership with the record mogul George Goldner to distribute his Click label. Now, the tune is written by the lead singer of the group. His name is Major Branch, and this is from July of 1958. This is going out to Paul Greco. Maybe he went to sleep because he needs to go. He can't stay up for the whole Vinyl Treasure show. He will listen on the archive, but it's not an easy record to find. This is a weird. My copy is kind of weird. I don't know if it's like a warp or it's kind of off center. I was trying to line it up. Let's see how it sounds here, but it was just weird. But let's see. It should play okay. This is from July 58. These are the Dream Tones with Major Branch on lead on the Click label for Paul Greco. It's called Love in the Afternoon.
It's love in the afternoon. Two lovers enjoy the scene. That love was made too soon. They called it love in the afternoon. Don't cry, the one you love tells you she's found enough. Just sit under the silvery moon and call it love in the Don't let that love that stole my heart and bring those memories of you. Don't take my heart, don't take my love, I died. It's love in the afternoon. The moon gazing at the sun. The sun gazing at the moon. They call it love in the
As by request for Philadelphia listener Paul Greco, there you go. That's the sound of the Dream Tones, Major Branch on lead, July 1958 on Click Records, Love in the Afternoon. I think prior to this release, they backed up the Mitlow sisters on, they covered the Nutmegs tune, Let Me Tell You, they did. But they have other releases on Express and Astra, came out in 1959. I have those 45s, have featured them here on the program. Let's continue here in 58 as this is a request for Timothy. For Timothy in the YouTube chat room. This group is out of New Haven, Connecticut, and they signed with Thomas Robinson's Atlas record label for two. Their first release was issued in April of 1956. It was called In My Lonely Room. It was leased out to Josie Records in August of 1957. Now at that time, they were known as the Four Haven Knights. When they added another group member, they had to drop the four, so they just became the Haven Knights. This was their second release on the Atlas record label. It was written by the lead singer. His name is Leroy Gomez. This is going out to Timothy from July 1958, the Haven Knights. Haven Knights on the Atlas label. It's called Just to Be in Love for Timothy. That's by request for Timothy in our YouTube chat room. The sound of the Haven Knights. Leroy Gomez on lead, July 1956 on the Atlas label, Just to Be in Love. You know, some of these Atlases, they play so grainy. It's like the recite my Phytones, You'll Be the Last, and this one. I mean, and it's funny because I recently picked up some Relic LPs, and I played You'll Be the Last, and even though it sounds clearer on that, they probably filtered it out, you still can, it's still not as clear as the other records on the other songs on the LP. So I guess you can filter it out, but when you play it, I mean, maybe I need another needle or whatever so you don't get that sound. It's possible, but you know, when they use recycled vinyl, it is no good. It's not. Johnny G babbling here, and we continue here. Up next, a special request and dedication. This is a request for Nat Papagallo in Naples, Florida. He was in our chat room before. Maybe he went to bed, maybe not. Angelo, is your brother still awake or not? But he wants to send this out to his wife B on her birthday, which they are celebrating today. Today is Nat's wife's birthday, B, and it's by Willis Sanders and the Embers. This first came out on the Millionaire label and was picked up by Unart a couple of weeks later. I have it on Unart. I don't have it on Millionaire. I wish I did. But it's from October 1958. Willis Sanders and the Embers on the Unart label. A special request for Nat Papagallo to his wife B on her birthday. The song is called Lovable You.
Lovable you, lovable you,
Lovable you, lovable, lovable you, lovable you,
lovable, lovable, lovable
I love you, I love you. Yes, I do. Lovable you,
lovable, lovable, lovable
you thrill me, you thrill me through and through. I'll always thrill to your charms, longing to hold you in my arms. For there's no ecstasy been given to me like yours, like yours, lovable you,
lovable, lovable, lovable.
I need you, I need you. Yes, I do. Lovable you,
lovable, lovable, lovable.
I want you, I want you. Yes, I do. For there's no one anywhere that could compare with you. Lovable you,
lovable, lovable, lovable.
I love you, I love you. Yes, I do.
Sweet lovable you,
Lovable you, lovable
you,
lovable you,
lovable you.
That's the great sound of Willis Sanders and the Embers, October 1958. I played it on Unart Records. First came out on the Millionaire record label, and then it was picked up by Unart Records. That is a special request for Nat Papagallo to his wife B on her birthday today. And it's still her birthday. It's not midnight yet. So there you go. That is a great tune to send out to your wife on her birthday. As we continue here on Vinyl Treasures, we stay in 1958. This is a request for Mike Sape. He wants to send it out to Johnny G and all the chatters, all you guys and gals in the chat room, as he did with the flip side of this, a couple of weeks ago, maybe more than that, on the April 15th, 2023 show. He requested Dick Grass and the Hoppers, a group out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. The song was called Please Dear, and it featured Big Bob Lindsay on lead. Mike, I didn't know Big Bob Lindsay was that big, but I guess he was. But because he sounds like a little kid with a little voice, but he was a big guy, I guess. Now, Dick Grass, he was the drummer for the group, and I think he is, you hear him in the beginning of this, if I'm not mistaken. But then you're going to hear Big Bob Lindsay come in a little bit into the song. This is by request from Mike Sape, sending it out to the chatters and Johnny G. October 58, Dick Grass and the Hoppers on Arrow. It's called Mr. John Law.
Well, I
was cruising down the highway, only doing 95, just trying to hold my car steady so I could stay alive. Now I looked in my rearview mirror, and here's what I saw. Closing the gap between us was a Mr. John Law. He said, now pull over to the side, sonny. Now what seems to be wrong? Now, officer, come here quick.
Listen to the song.
October 1958 release there for Dick Grass and the Hoppers, but the lead singer on that is Big Bob Lindsay on lead, Arrow Records out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. Mr. John Law is the name of the tune. That's by request from Mike Sape, sending it out to all the chatters and Johnny G. I could have sang that song. So I worked for a utility. I was doing the tax return. I would do the federal tax return. I didn't like doing state returns, but I'm not a tax guy. But when I worked for this utility company, I worked for a company called Resources Global Professionals. So I had a lot of experience. So they would farm me out to, companies that needed backfill. So they hired me, and I worked for the company for about 8 years, and in total probably 10 or 12 years. So they let us out early, like one of the holidays, and I think is it MacArthur Parkway, I think, that goes right through Newark, New Jersey, and it goes, I think it's Route 21. So I got to get on the Garden State to come home, to the Tappan Zee Bridge or the Mario Cuomo Bridge. So this was in the afternoon, and I normally, I will admit that I would speed on that road, and I'm talking about the speed limit was 55, but I would be doing 75, between 75 or 78, somewhere in there. So it's like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm normally not on that road, so I'm driving on that road, and I wasn't paying any attention, but evidently I got toward the end of the road. It kind of narrows out and it continues, and there's a way to get onto the Garden State. So I see these sirens behind me. I'm talking about, this is like, well, it's got to be now 4 years ago. So I see the lights behind me. I'm going, what the hell? It was, in one of those little black police cars. So I pull over to the side, and I was in a 2010 Cadillac DTS. So they pulled me over, and I'm waiting there and waiting. I'm going, what is this guy doing? So two guys come out, and one guy stands behind the car and the other one is on that side, and he says to me to lower the window, and he says to me, do you know we followed you for the last 4 miles and you're not really paying attention to the road? I said, what do you mean? I was paying attention to the road. He goes, you were? Well, you were going 70, I think he said 76 and a 55. He says, let me see your driving license and your registration and your insurance card. I said, officer, I have to tell you, I was not paying attention. I'm being honest with you. I wasn't paying attention. So he saw my little badge, and I was working for at the time PSE&G Utility. So he looked at it and he took it and he went back. So I'm like, well, geez, I was over 20 miles over the speed limit. So how much of a ticket would that be? That's not good. So he comes back and he's on the other side of the car, and he hands me my license and my registration, the insurance card, and he hands me this ticket. He says to me, I'm giving you a warning. I said, you're giving me a warning? He says, yeah, I'm giving you a warning. Slow down, because I'm not going to be so nice the next time. I was like, thank you, officer, for that, and whatever. So it was funny because I immediately called George Tompkins and I asked him what was the reason? Why would these guys not give me a ticket? Because then he told me, he said, well, they were not really looking for speeders. They were looking for either people smuggling drugs or guns across state lines, and they're specifically whatever the routine was. So I was like, or I would have had to sing that song. I'd have to sing that song to the police officer. But I was thankful that I didn't get the ticket there, but it was a warning, and it said if I got caught within a year that it was going to be severe penalties or whatever. But that's my Mr. John Law lesson for the night there. But anyway, there you go. Let's continue here on Vinyl Treasures, and let's go back to Philadelphia here with this request for Angelo Papagallo, listening up in Maine. He is Nat's younger brother that Nat turned on to the Vinyl Treasure show, and this is his request. I'm featuring, well, I should say the first press of this next record came out on the Atco label, was issued in December of 1957, but it was put out locally in Philadelphia a couple months later. February 1958 came out on Barry Golder and Jocko Henderson's Mainline label. It features Eddie Custis on lead. This is for Angelo Papagallo in the YouTube. I think he's still in the YouTube chat room there. I think it's from February 58. It's a great two-sided 45. These are the Superiors. I'm featuring it on Mainline, and the song is called Lost Love. This is for Angelo.
The sun won't shine like it used to before until you say, darling, that you're mine once more. All of my memories, darling, all of my cares, they are too hard for me to bear. The moon together. You said it would be. Then you laughed. You turned and walked out on me.
What a great record that is there. That's going out to Angelo Papagallo, The Sound of the Superiors, February 1958. It's on the Mainline record label. Actually, that's really it goes for more money maybe because, I don't know, the collectors just like the Mainline label, but maybe it is scarcer than the Atco label, but still, either way, if you have it on Atco or Mainline, a great two-sided 45. Eddie Custis on lead, The Superiors, Lost Love, that's for Angelo. Let's continue here now. Last week, I played a 45 on Bill McCall's 4-Star Records out of Hollywood, California, mostly known, that label, for country and boppers and pop. But there are about, I think, maybe 4 group records on the label. And last week I featured the Willows. I think it was Rick in Philly that requested the Willows, Now That I Have You. And this week, Jimmy Amato wanted to hear one other vocal group on this 4-Star record label. They were called the Peacocks. So this is from February of 1958. And how appropriate to sing about your new hi-fi. So this is February 58 on 4-Star Records. This is going out to Jimmy Amato, the Peacocks, with their tune called My New Hi-Fi.
Boom 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 boom.
Well, my new hi-fi is only company because the girl I love has with and left for me. Well, I play you, send me an arrow of love because I be to you my sweet little love. Cause my new hi-fi is my only company. Well, I go to the movies and I think of her all day. I sit next to a couple to hear the sweet words they say. Well, I leave the show and I catch a bus. When I get home, I'm all sugar. Cause my new hi-fi is my only company. Well, I sit beside my hi-fi and I play that reminds me of you. Little bitty, pretty one is nice, but it won't do. I play Searching, Silhouettes, Raunchy, and Buzz Buzz too. But most of all, I'll come running back to you. And my new hi-fi is my only company. Well, I play Diane, but Diane isn't her name. But I find that it is a pain just the
same. As going out to Jimmy Amato there, The Sound of the Peacocks, February 1958 on 4-Star Records. 4-Star Records, known for country and pop and boppers. It's called My New Hi-Fi is the name of that tune. Let's continue now. We are in 1958. We go back out to California with this request for Daniel Kubacki in our YouTube chat room. He wanted to hear The Robins. This is on the Night label. This is a subsidiary of Imperial Records. Now, this is their second release on Night. I think by this time, maybe Grady Chapman left the group. He may have already left, but they're all doing lead on this request. And I think Bobby Sheen replaced Grady Chapman in The Robins. But this is going out to Daniel, November 1958, The Robins on the Night label. It's called It's Never Too Late for Daniel.
It's never too late. Ooh. It's never too late to start our life anew, to make our dreams come true. It's never too late. It's never too late to take another chance on love and sweet romance. It's never too late.
Although the dreams we used to share are just faint memories, I know that they will live again if you return to me.
It's never too late to build a nest for two somewhere beyond the blue. It's never too late. Never, never,
Sounds of California here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That's going out to Daniel Kubacki in our YouTube chat room. The Robins from November 1958 on Night Records. It's never too late. It's never too late to buy your 45s. No, it's never too late to listen to music. It isn't. It actually is a healing thing. It is for me. And it just brings me joy. I'm passionate about the music, but it is a thing to get people together. I hope you're digging on the tunes here tonight as we continue. And we stay in 58. We go to Detroit, Michigan now with this request for listener Joe Shacatano. This is on Charles Fulton's Fulton label. The group initially recorded as the 5 J's on Fulton, but then they continued to record for the same label, and they changed their name to the 5 Johnson Brothers. And this is their second release here from December of 58. This is for Joe Shacatano, the 5 Johnson Brothers on Fulton. It's called Sleep with a Dream for Joe.
Dream of tomorrow, a dream that I may dream too. Love will put thoughts of today's sweetheart, and darling, love me. Kiss me, my sweetheart. Kiss me. Tell me that I am the only one, and I'll be true. I'll be true to love me, love me, love me, love me. I have always loved you with all of my heart. Ever leave me? Tell me that we will never part. I sleep with the dream of tomorrow, a dream that I may dream too. Love with the thought of today, sweetheart, and love is as real. Love is as real, real as it seems. Real as it
December 1958 release there for the Five Johnson Brothers. That one there on Fulton Records out of Detroit, Michigan. Sleep with a Dream. That's going out to Joe Shacatano. We are in 1958. On last week's Vinyltreasure show, I played a request for Adrian Viterbo. He requested the Vernals out of Philadelphia, a rare 45 on the Rulu label. It was called Raindrops. Now, Daryl Letts requested the flip side, so we're going to send this one out to Daryl. We're also going to send it out to UK listener Indrajit Advani. He's listening over in the UK. This is from June of 1958. The group is called the Vernals. This is on Rulu Records, a local label out of Philadelphia. It's called Why Can't You Be True? you go. That's going out to Daryl Letts in our YouTube chat room, and all Indrajit at Ivani over in UK. We'll also send it out to Adrian in our YouTube chat room. June 1958, the Vernals with an E on the Rulu label. Why Can't You Be True is the name of the tune. The group would record for Arnold Records back in 1961 as the Varnels with an A. And now that Wayne Sturley, he was able to secure some unreleased master tapes by the Vernals, and he put them out on his Candlelight label, and I have a copy here. This was issued in 1984, recorded in 58, and we're going to send this one out to listener Bill Olb. This is actually an alternate version. See which version you like better. We heard the one that was issued back, or came out originally on the Rulu label. This is on Candlelight Records. And it was issued in 1994, came out on Wayne Sturley's Candlelight record label. This is going out to Bill Olb. This is from 58, the Vernals, and their tune called Why Can't You Be True. This is an alternate version.
Feeling awful blue, but tonight I said
Alternate takes here on the Vinyltreasure show. Those are the Vernals. Probably, as Marvin put it in an earlier take, they were practicing the song there, possibly, and a much slower version there, but that's on Wayne Sterling's Candlelight record label, 1958, late 58 release, Why Can't You Be True, the Vernals. I think the flip side also, Raindrops, is another alternate version. Then we'll play that one next week, we will, as we continue here on the Vinyltreasure show. Here's a gal from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is a request for Adrian Viterbo, listening in Mexico in our YouTube chat room, as prior to this release, she recorded with the El Vinos on the Groove and the Vic record label. Her real name was Anna Mae Jackson, but with this release, on Bill Lashley's Memo label, she recorded as Ann Keith, and it's a tune that she wrote. She's being backed up by the El Vinos, her old group on this side. It's a great tune from July 1959, Ann Keith. Ann Keith on the Memo label. This is actually the female version of Ronnie Jones and the Classmates. They do a song called Lonely Boy. Well, here is Ann Keith with the female side of it. It's called Lonely Girl. This is for Adrian.
I'm just a lonely girl.
Cha-cha-cha-doo.
All by myself. More than I once loved someone else. He doesn't love me. That's why he treats me this way. I'm just a lonely girl, all by myself. Boy that I need wants someone else. He doesn't need me. That's why he treats me this way. As I stroll through high in the early morning dew, I hear what's calling me. I'm wondering, can it be you? I'm just a lonely girl, all by myself. The boy that I need wants someone else. He doesn't need me. That's why he treats me this way. Whoa, treats me this way. Whoa, treats me this way.
That's going out to Adrian Viterbo in Mexico, July 1959. Miss Ann Keith. Ann Keith on the Memo label, her tune called Lonely Girl. Johnny G here on a Saturday evening. Hope you're digging on the tunes here as we continue here. We're here from 9 to midnight, probably get out of here by 12:30. That is my goal as we continue here. Now, last week, I played a request for Jimmy Amato, this group out of Baltimore, Maryland. They were called The Plants, and it was their, what did I say here? It's on Zell Sanders' J&S record label out of the Bronx, New York, and the song was called I've Searched the Seven Seas. We're going to flip it over here. An instant request for Jimmy Amato and Daryl Letts from 1959. It features George Jackson on lead. These are The Plants on J&S Records from 1959 for Daryl and Jimmy. It's called I Took a Trip Way Over the Sea.
I took a trip way over the sea to find a view. I never thought that our love could be so intentionally.
go. Those are the Plants there, going out to Darrell Letts and Jimmy Amato, 1959 on the J&S record label. That's the flip side to I Searched the Seven Seas. I Took a Trip Way Over the Sea. Now, Marvin Pod says they aren't the same Plants that recorded the prior two releases. It's possible. Why? You really don't know. We can't read the mind of why Zell Sanders would want to, call another group the Plants. I could see if there was a different lead singer, possibly. Somebody maybe had to be one of the original members of the Plants. That's possible. We'll never probably know that, but like I said, who knows if they're not the same group or they are the same group. Either way, we continue here. We are in 1959. This is a request for Jim Lampley in Texas. We go to Brooklyn, New York for this group. They had 3 releases on the Coral label. This is their first. It was co-written by the lead singer of the group. His name is Dennis Lowell. Dennis Lowell. This is from October 59. These are the Explorers. The Explorers on Coral. Going out to Jim. It's called Vision of Love.
Do, do, do.
Going out to Jim Lampley in Texas. That's I guess their debut single for this group, the Explorers. Dennis Lowell on lead, October 1959. Vision of Love is the name of the tune. I know they have releases. I don't know, Charlene, if you included Dennis and the Explorers in with those other 3. Because you should have, but I didn't get a chance to check it. So anyway, we continue here on Vinyl Treasures. We got a request for listener Kenny Mack. Is Kenny Mack in the house, is what Johnny G is asking. And he requested the original version of this tune. This was a big hit in 1959 on the Doré label for Jan and Dean. But this group is from the Crown Heights section of Brooklyn, written by group member Melvin Schwartz. Now, the lead singer on this, his name is Roy Robinson. So we go to 1959 with the original version of Baby Talk, as done by a group called The Laurels. This is for Kenny Mack on Spring Records from 59, The Laurels with Baby Talk.
Well, I am only 5 years old, and my baby 3 means to say she loves me.
In baby talk.
Say she loves me. She cannot speak very well, everybody knows, but to me she looks real swell in her baby clothes. I ask her if her love is true, and her answer goes, which means to say she loves me.
In baby talk.
Say she loves me, and all of the world that I love her so. And in the years to come, my dear, I'll never let her go. She will say to me when I kiss her on the cheek, oh so tenderly, although I'm only 5 years old, and my baby, I really love my baby. Love my baby. Love my baby. Go, go, go.
As going out to Kenny Mack in our YouTube chat room, those are the Laurels. The Laurels, that is the original version of Baby Talk, a big hit for Jan and Dean, 1959. It was not a hit for the Laurels. That's on the Spring record label. Now, for you collectors out there, the absolute first press of this has the address at the top of the label. Manufactured by Power Records, are originals, but pressed after the Jan and Dean release. So that's how you can tell the difference between the two, because they kind of like our second presses, but anyway, they're still considered originals. Johnny G here on a Saturday night. We continue, and let's move into 1961 now. I had no requests from 1960, so we go into 1961, and this is a request for listener Ronnie Sherman, who is watching Johnny G at this moment right now. This group is out of Flint, Michigan. Got to ask Daryl Letts if you ever seen this record in your area, Daryl. They consisted of David Burns, Len Garrett, Jimmy Jackson, S.L. McMullen, and Harold Montgomery. Collectively, they were known as the Flints with an apostrophe. F-L-I-N-T apostrophe S. That differentiates them from the Flints from New York that recorded for OK and Petite. They use an apostrophe. This was released in December of 1963, came out on the Heart label, which is out of Detroit. And this is going out to Ronnie Sherman, December 61, the Flints on Heart. It's called Why Did You Go?
Away from me. Why did you go and why did you say to let you be? Why did you go and hurt me so? Why did you go? Why did you go? Why did you go away? Why make me cry and then say goodbye? Now I am lonely. Why did you play and hurt me this way? I loved you only. Why did you go and hurt me so? Why, oh, why did you go away? Oh, now,
They're out of Detroit, Michigan. Those are the Flints. That's going out to Ronnie Sherman, December 61 release on Heart Records. Why Did You Go? Johnny G not going yet, but we're going to be going a lot earlier than last week as we continue here. And we go out to Long Island, New York for this next group. It's a request for Jim Lampley in Texas. And they have this one release on Mike Serby's Taurus label. Taurus Records was out of Brooklyn, New York. Now, the members of this group consisted of Dennis and Danny DeVita, Doug Scannell, that doesn't have an I, Dave Kelly, and the lead singer, Philip J. Giarratano, Giarrantano, a.k.a. Phil Tano. And this is from October of 1961. They're called The Escorts. The Escorts, this is for Jim Lampley in Texas on Taurus Records. It's called You're For Me, parentheses, and I'm For You, for Jim.
Digga-digga-dee-doo, digga-digga-dee,
You're for me and I'm for you. Never knew that I could feel the way I do. Like you want me, I want you. It's destiny, oh baby, you can ask me anything. The stars from heaven I'll bring. You are meant for me. You're for me, baby, and I'm for you. Never knew someone could throw me like you do. I love you, and I need you. I want you. You can ask me anything. The stars from heaven I will bring. I was meant for you. You're for me and I'm for you. Never dreamed someone could make me so true. When you kiss me and I kiss you, it's heavenly, oh baby, you can ask me anything. The stars from heaven I'll bring. You're the world to me.
That's from October 1961. They're called The Escorts there. Phil Tano on lead. It's going out to Jim Lampley in Texas. You're For Me, parentheses, and I'm For You. That's on the Taurus record label. Now, this a few years later, 1967, Phil Taro would join the Val Rays. I thought 1964. They do a song called, what? Yo Me Preguto, that Spanish doo-wop on the Parkway record label. They do anyway. Like to welcome in the Oldies and More Radio Network here to the Vinyl Treasure Show. Johnny G spinning original vinyl 45's, 1950s and early 60s. We do the music chronologically here. We are in the year 1961, and we are in overtime here. And we go back to the Bronx, New York. This is actually a request for UK listener Indrajit Avani. Actually, last week, a bunch of the UK listeners gave me requests for they had the big ceremony last week, the crowning of the king, or the celebration of the king. So there were records by the Royals, I forget the name, and this was one of them that was left over. This group called the Regents out of the Bronx, New York. Of course, you know they had their first record came out on Lou Cicchetti's cousin's label, and he owned the label, and The song was called Barbara Ann. George Goldner would, and it wasn't George Goldner, it was it was Morris Levy on Roulette Records who would, no, G Records. I think by that time, maybe Morris Levy did own G Records, but it was issued on G Records, became a big hit for the group. But that was their first of four. This is their follow-up to Barbara Ann from June of 1961, a tune written by Ernie Maresca. Features Guy Valeri on lead. Guy Valeri used to come into my chat room years and years ago, but he unfortunately passed away. And this is probably the biggest hit that I'm playing tonight. I normally do not play hits here on the Vinyltreasure Show, but sometimes it's nice to hear some hits, as long as I don't get the copyright police don't nab me. But this charted number 28 on Billboard, 30 on the R&B chart, was a number 3 record on WINX in Rockville, Maryland from June 61. These are the Regents for Indrajit on the G record label. The song is called Run Around.
I'm sick and tired of your lies telling me that you're good when you're going out with guys from your own neighborhood. I got news for you and I'm not kidding around. Pack up your bags and get out of town. Run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 bom, 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 bom. I gave you love and kisses and I bought you a ring. But what a love this is, you're ruining everything. I used to have a job, took me from town to town, but everywhere I went, this is what I found. Run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 bom, 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 bom. This is what I found. Run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 bom, 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 bom. Run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 bom, 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 bom. Run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around. Runny, 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 run around, run around.
That's the second of four for the Regents on the G label, June 61. Guy Valeri on lead, Run Around, the name of the tune, going out to Indrajit Avani. And that one there, Ernie Maresca, was he a member of that group? Maybe he was. You got here, Charlene, that he wrote the tune. He was baritone member of the Regents. I didn't know that. I thought he was just a songwriter there. Anyway, Milton DeLugg and the orchestra there. As we continue here in Vinyltreasure Overtime, and we stay in 61. Actually, this is a request for Kenny Mack. It's actually a B-side. I think the A-side of this was a Christmas record, was called Stompin' Around the Christmas Tree. It's actually a pretty rare 45 on George Goldner's Gone record label. The group is called the Stompers. This is arranged by Vinny Catalano. I've never seen a stock copy of this record. I've only seen the promo. So I don't know, maybe it just wasn't played. There were too many Christmas records to play at the time, and they didn't get a chance to play this one. Came out in December of 61, but Kenny requested the flip side. They're called the Stompers. This is for Kenny Mack on Gone Records. The song is called Forgive Me, for Kenny.
Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong. Forgive me, 'cause I know that I did wrong
I was a fool for running out on you. Baby, I'm asking you, forgive me. I broke your heart.
B-sides here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there going out to Kenny Mack, December 1961. They're called the Stompers. That's the Stompers there. Forgive Me, the name of that tune on Gone Records. Vinny Catalano, and he arranged the tune. We are moving into 1962 now. This is a request for Emnon, and I think this might have been a flip side request for Darrell Letts a couple years ago, possibly, as these girls, they're out of Detroit, Michigan, started recording back in 1959 for the Twirl record label, which was then picked up by Cameo Records. The lead singer of the group, her name was Elma Holman, but we know her as Bobby Smith. And first they recorded as the Dream Girls, and this is their third of 5 on Big Top Records when they became Bobby Smith and the Dream Girls. The A-side of this was an answer song to the this is an answer song to the Gene Chandler's Duke of Earl. It's by Bobby Smith and the Dream Girls from January of 1962. This is for Amnon. We'll send it out to Darrell. Bobby Smith and the Dream Girls on Big Top from January 62. It's called The Duchess of Earl.
Duchess of Earl, 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 Duchess of Earl. As I walk through this world, nothing can harm the Duchess of Earl. Because my
you go. Answer Records here on the Vinyltreasure Show. There you go. That's for M9. We'll send it out also to Daryl Letts. That's Bobby Smith and the Dreamgirls, January 1962 on Big Top Records, The Duchess of Earl. And the song would be covered about a month later by another girl group called the Pearlettes. They covered that for the VJ record label. We are in 1962 here. This is a request for listener Big Dave Swinger, and he wanted to hear this singer by the name of BJ, but I think they're known as the Harrison Brothers. And I didn't get a chance really to research this. I was telling Charlene to check some information out. I think they were Jim and Bob and maybe Robert Harrison. They recorded as the Harrison Brothers. I know, Big Dave Swinger, if you have any information on this, please send it to me, because there is another record on the Blue label that on Clock that relates to this, and I just couldn't think of it, and I didn't have enough time to tell Charlene to go research it. But anyway, it's from March 62. This is for Big Dave Swinger on Clock Records, and it has a smash number, by the way. It's BJ on Clock. It's called I'll Go On.
I'll go on, I'll go on, giving my life for you. I'll go on, I'll go on, darling, what more can I do? No one else can love me and thrill me the way you do. I'll go on, giving my life for you.
That's a nice tune there. That's going out to Big Dave Swinger in our YouTube chat room. And then he explains it. That makes sense. They are, I don't know if it's overdubbed. There might be a group behind it. There's another record, because I'm telling you, George Tompkins told me about this record, and I just couldn't remember. I needed a little bit more time to research this. I just couldn't get to it at this point. It's Bob and Jim, so I don't know. It says B-J. Wait. No, it's not two. I don't know about that. B-J. I don't know. B-E-E-J-A-Y is how it's spelled. There's no dash. But I know they're involved with the Harrison Brothers. I know that. And there's another record. It's on the blue. It's a powder blue Clock label. And I'm trying to think. It's a group. And I know I spoke with George about it, but anyway, either way about it, it's a great record there. BJ from March 62 on Clock, I'll Go On. And we will continue on with this request for Rick in Philly as we head to Cleveland, Ohio. This singer was a member of the Hornets that recorded for the States label back in 1953. And he formed a new Hornets group about 9 years later, and he wrote this tune. It's on Lester Johnson and Bill Branch's Way Out record label out of Cleveland, Ohio. It's from December 62. It's not an easy record to find. This is for Rick in Philly in our YouTube chat room. Let's give a listen to Ben Iverson and the Hornets on Way Out Records. The song is called Love Me for Rick.
You hug me. Why must you tease me? Gee, I love you so. Squeeze me. Why won't you please me? Why won't you love me? For I'll never, never let you go. Are you pretending? Is this the ending? Please let me make amends. There's no use lying. My heart is crying. So let's try it over again. Yes, that's it. Hold me. Because I love you so, and I'll never, never let, I'll never, never let, and I'll never, never let you go.
I know George Tompkins, he used to like that record too. That's Ben Iverson and the Hornets. It's going out to Rick in Philly in our YouTube chat room, December 1962. It's on Way Out Records. Song entitled Love Me. There's another one I have. Is it called Wedding Day, I think, that I have on that label? Not as in nice, as clean shape as this one, but I do, which is another hard 45. We continue here on Vinyl Treasures. We're going to get, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 more records to go. We're going to be a little bit later, but it's going to be before 1 o'clock, that is for sure. But I did a lot of talking today, and I kind of played some of George's some George records for George. So, and this is a special show dedicated to the memory of George Tompkins. So this is this record though was issued in February of 1951, but this group dates back to 1956. They had a big hit in 56. My aunt bought the 45 on Whirling Disc Records, The Closer You Are, but they continued to record into the 90s. This is a request for Timothy. This is by Earl Lewis and the Channels, and this came out on Dave Antrell's and Bruce Patch's Classic Artists, a record label, which was out of Los Angeles. And I remember when Dave Antrell came here to the Don K. Reed doo-wop shop to talk about what he was doing. He was getting the original lead singers of the groups, and he was re-recording or recording songs very similar to things that we know that they've done in the past, even though they weren't like re-singing their songs, but they were similar songs that sounded like a lot of their records. So, and you'll hear it with this release by Earl Lewis and the Channels. This tune written by Dave Antrell, February 1991, Earl Lewis and the Channels on Classic Artists Records. The song is called You Promised Me Love. This is for Timothy in our YouTube chat. That's the great sound of Earl Lewis and the Channels. That's going out to Timothy in our YouTube chat room. If I said 51, I need my head examined. It's 1991, February 91 release on Dave Antrell's classic artist label, You Promised Me Love. What is that, like maybe Stay As You Are or That's My Desire type sound? But they're very pleasing to the ear, and Dave Antrell had the knack. I think he played the piano on a lot of the records, and I tried to get as many as I can, and when I was buying them, and Marvin Pod mentioned they come on colored wax, I think I have, like, there's some Christmas records like Jimmy Beaumont and the Skyliners and the Tune Weavers, and then the Feathers, the Castells, the Calvains. There's a whole bunch of, I think there were also LPs because they came to promote the label, but they are good to have, and they're not really that expensive, really. But anyway, that's going out to Timothy. Let's continue here. And last week, or actually it wasn't last week, it was on the April 29th show, I played a request for Jimmy Amato by the Vital Tones, and the song was called Forever. It was listener Paul Greco of Philadelphia asked Johnny G to flip that 45 over. He heard it. He must have heard the playback, and he said, that side gets played in Philadelphia, but the flip side doesn't get played as much. Can you play it? So I'm going to play this for Phil, and I like both sides of this record. And it has kind of like a West Coast sound to it. So the writers of the song, this Travis Allen, he did a lot of West Coast stuff. So that's what makes me think that this was licensed out or leased out to Jerry Blaine and Josie Records. But anyway, this is for Phil Greco, August 62, the Vital Tones on Josie. This is the flip side of Forever, a song entitled Someone to Love. This is for Paul in Philly.
All that I need is someone to love. I don't want castle in Spain. A castle in Spain. I don't care. Whoa, sunshine or rain. Heavens above, won't you please send me someone to love? They made me a king, for without someone to love, then you really don't have the thing I don't want. Cadillac car.
Going out to Paul in Philly, Paul Greco. Those are the Vital Tones. Great two-sided 45, August 1962. Someone to Love on Jerry Blaine's Josie record label. We continue here. We move into 1963. This is a request for listener Joe Shacatano. This is on the Gaiden label out of Philadelphia, another rare 45. Greg Surik sold me this record. They're called The Continental Gems. Came out in April of 1963. Written by L.C. Marshall, produced by Huey Moe. And this is on Gaiden Records, April 63 for Joe. The Continental Gems with My Love Will Follow You.
Dum, dum, dum.
that the true lover part. For his memory lives in my heart. So just remember, darling, my love will follow you. Yes, my love, I love you.
April 63 release there for Joe Shacatano, the Continental Gems. Rare 45 on the Guidon label out of Philadelphia. My Love Will Follow You is the name of that tune. We stay in Philadelphia here with a request for Rick in Philly. You know this group's biggest hit. It was a song called When We Get Married. Came out on the Heritage record label, but they have a bunch of great 45s, V-Tone records, Len Records, Buddy Caldwell's Len record label, V-Tone Records, and here's one that they do on the Swan label, a tune written by Al Turner, Jerry Ross, and Kenny Gamble, and this was later released. I don't know why they put it out on Casino Records, because the Casino label, it looks like it looks like the Gamble label, the Casino label, which I have, or is it the Yellow label? No, I had it on. I had it on another label. I said, wait a minute, I need to find the Swan release. I might be losing my mind. But this tune adapted from the Modern Ink Spots 1962 release on Rust. That's a 45 I still need, that Modern Ink Spots. But it features Donald Hogan on lead. The great sound of the Dream Lovers here for Rick and Philly, December 63 on Swan. The song is called Together. This is for Rick.
Together, in your arms forever. It's pleasure. Our love is blessed when you're in my hungry arms. To be alone with you.
December 1963 release there for Donald Hogan and the Dream Lovers on the Swan record label. That's for Rick and Philly, song entitled Together. 3 more 45s to go before we sign off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. Here's a request for Adrian Viterbo, and this group is out of, or I should say the lead singer of this group is out of Temple, Texas. His real name is Jose Maria Delon Hernandez, and his first release came out in 1960 on the Ramona record label, and they did 2, though, on El Zarpe, which is out of Dallas, Texas. And this, let me see, this is actually a cover tune. This was originally recorded, this song, in 1959 by Buck Rogers on the Montel record label. And it's a cover here from September 64 by Little Joe and the Latinaires. Little Joe and the Latinaires. This is for Adrian, September 64 on El Zarpe, their rendition of the tune Crazy Baby.
Crazy, crazy, crazy baby, that's what I am over you. Crazy, crazy, crazy baby, what am I gonna do? All of my life I wanted someone like you. You're sweet to me, and I'm so mean to you. Got me running round in circles, waiting for you to decide if you love me, baby. You'd realize. All of my life I wanted someone like you. You're sweet to me, and I'm so mean to you. Got me running round in circles, waiting for you to decide if you love me, baby. You'd realize. So, baby, be my wife and take this feeling of my life. Crazy, crazy, crazy baby, that's what I'm over you.
Cover tunes here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. That one there going out to Adrian Viterbo, September 64. Little Joe and the Latinaires on the El Zarpe record label, Crazy Baby. That's the first style label. The all-purple label is the second style. 2 more 45s to go here before we sign off here on the Vinyl Treasure Show. And there are 2 requests by 2 brothers. Nat Papagallo's record is up first, and then his brother Angelo is up second. So we go to Detroit, Michigan for Nat Papagallo. Going to ask him, Nat, do you have this in your jukebox? And if you do you have the orange label or the yellow label? As this is group out of Detroit. It's their only release, came out on Preston Carnes Astra label and came out in 1965. Now, the first presses are on the orange Astra label, and it mentions Detroit, Michigan. The yellow copies are the second press, and they mention Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and they also have a different flip. The Karaoke is the flip side on that one, and I think this one is Christie, which is a cool up-tempo record, by the way. But it's 1965. This is for Nat Papagallo in Naples, Florida. Let's give a listen to the Aquanites. The Aquanites on Astra. The song is called Lover, Don't You Weep. Soulful doo-wop there for listener Nat Papagallo, 1965. It's on the Astra label out of Detroit, Michigan. Lover, Don't You Weep is the name of the tune. The Aquanites, the name of the group. The flip side's a cool up-tempo called Christie. And I think on the Pittsburgh label, Astra, the Karaoke is a dance, but the Christie song, it's a cool record. That's going to do it for Johnny G and the Vinyl Treasure Show. I went a little later than I wanted to go, but again, this was a, kind of like I don't want to say a somber show, because I know that George Tompkins would want me to play this music in his memory. That is a fact. So he was a big fan of the show, and I know I saw some of the people at the wake, and they told me he would always publicize the show. And he said to me, John, you could do better than I said, George, don't say that. I said, I was listening to you as a kid, and I was writing down all these songs that you played. You were doing 3 or 4 record sets of things I didn't do. So you'll play the Charms record, and then you'll flip it over and play the other side. So I'm writing down the A and the B side for these records. And of course, I had no money at the time. So I had like 400 record, 400 songs that I was looking for, groups that I was looking for. And then I didn't know what happened. I didn't go to any of the UGH. I never had time. I was always working late in accounting, and they were 60-hour weeks, so I really never had time. And then I would buy records, when I had a little bit of time, but I kept the hobby up. And then I posted about 8 years ago, 7 or 8 years ago, I posted a letter that he sent me. He sent me a letter, and he said, he apologized. He said, "What did I do wrong for you to stop writing into the show?" And I was like, George, I wrote him back and I said, "You didn't do anything wrong." I said, "I'm going to Pace University. I don't have time. I'm studying to be a CPA, and I just don't have time to write in anymore. I try to listen when I can." And then when he moved over to the R&B Review, I used to listen to him and Sal, and they're all the archives are all there that you can hear on that website. I have the website if you need it. You can send me an email at vinyltreasures@aol.com. So somebody told him, because he was going to Tom Hartford's, Tom Hartford would do a once a month a kind of a record get-together that a DJ would play records over in New Jersey. I thought it was off of Route 17 at the time, and I said, well, I can go to this, but it was too late, because it was, by the time I drove by, it was just too late. I never went. So he was there. I forget who used to drive him there, but he had somebody that would drive him there, and he would go there all the time. And then he I don't know, he continued to go, but he found out that I posted this, and he got upset, and he didn't know what I was doing. He had no clue that I did a show. So he sent me an email. Somebody must have told him my email, and he said, "I need to speak to you." I mean, it was angry. So I said, "Well, I don't have time. I'm preparing for the show." He goes, "What show? What show do you do? You don't do any show." I said, "Yes, I do. I do a show," and I think it was 2000. It might have been 2015. Or no, it was before, because I wasn't on YouTube yet. So I told him about it, and he started listening in, and then he found out about the YouTube, and then he was like mesmerized, because he was looking at all these records that he got rid of. And then he said to me, "Why didn't you keep in touch with me? I would have sold you these records." I was like, would I be able to afford them? Maybe. But he really had some pristine records, and I know I have one in my collection that was his. I have that Dennis Brown and the Atomics. What's the song? Dennis Brown and the Atomics on Atomic. That's the one I have. That was his. And he said that was his lesser copy. But anyway, he will always be remembered, George Doo-wop Tompkins here. I will never forget him. And he even said that I say things that he said. I don't know. Maybe subconsciously I did. He came here. He fixed my turntables. He gave me his stuff from FUV. He gave me all these weights and how to balance my turntable. He gave me his microphone from FUV. He gave me all these things and more, buying me birthday presents and whatnot. I says, "George, what are you doing?" So when he would call me at all hours of the night. I would entertain him, and I would talk to him, and he wanted me to go visit him. He was not that far from me in Rockland County, and we went out a lot of times to lunch. He liked margarita pizzas. He was telling me and he wouldn't let me pay. I'm like, "George, let me pay." No, he never did. I mean, I had to drive him. I have no problem. And he was a smoker. And I told him, "You can't smoke in the car. You have to smoke outside the car." And he did. And he introduced me to Louise, and he played all this music, and we talked about the music. And he had all the lead singers in his head, all the lead singers. And he will be missed. He really will. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in tonight. And I'm dedicating this show to him. And I will always remember George Tompkins. But anyway, we're going to close the show tonight with a request for Angelo in Maine. If you're there, Angela, yes, you are. And this is actually another Philadelphia record. We just heard from the Dream Lovers. Here they are. They return here. And this one came out in October '66, but it's It's got like a very nice harmonies about it. It's more group harmony than soul, and it's a special request. It's Angelo Papagallo wants to dedicate this song to his brother Tommy, who was in Brooklyn, New York, in memory to his late wife Joanne. So this is a special request for Angelo to his brother Tommy in Brooklyn in memory of his late wife Joanne. It's from October 66. These are the Dream Lovers. They return. They're second of two on the Mercury label with Donald Hogan on lead. And the song is called Calling Joanne. So anyway, that's it, folks. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. I'll be back next Saturday night right here on YouTube and also on Oldies and More Radio beginning at midnight. I'll be doing the show Wednesday evening, the Soul Show. If you're into soul music, you want to tune in. And if you're new to the program and just finding out, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Once I get to 1,000, I'll be going to 1 o'clock in the afternoon with other types of genres of music in my collection, but maybe other things in this vein, but specials like maybe specials on groups or specials on certain themes that won't be as involved and it won't be that long. It's only going to be no more than 2 hours. I can't do that. So I got things to do during the day, but I can whip stuff out if I prepare it ahead of time. So I need some ideas. Send me some ideas. You can do it at vinyltreasures@aol.com. You can also send your requests to vinyltreasures@aol.com. I plan on having guest collectors here also. If on a day like it's late on a Saturday, you can't get somebody, although I did have people come here and stay this late, but we can do guest collector spots at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's a good thing, so you can get on here and they can see your rare records here, so we can do that too. So that's a thing of the future here. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Charlene, again for all your help. Everybody have a safe and happy week. Happy Mother's Day out there to all the mothers, and I'll see you here next time on the Vinyl Treasure Show. If you missed any of the show, go to YouTube or go to my website, vinyltreasures.net. Just want to say, everybody, so long for Angelo.